Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Derp your Hooves. Today we're going to do something a little different. I don't normally fly helicopters, but they're really great for the ground detail if you want to look at stuff in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And today we're going to kind of explore Whiteman Airport and probably fly around LA County just a little bit and land at Whiteman. So, Whiteman Airport is an airport in Los Angeles County. It's actually in the San Fernando Valley. It's in the town or the city of San Fernando. So let's go have a look at the airport stock, and then we're going to look at the enhancement and see if we can see any of the differences. So let's go ahead and pick it and get going.
Whiteman Tower, Derp Y Romeo Echo Hotel 100 at runway 12 ready for departure, straight out departure.
Derp Y Romeo Echo Hotel 100, altimeter 30, decimal 15 wind calm, departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 12.
Okay, so here we have the stock airport. This is Whiteman Airport. And let's just kind of go up and have a look. And, I mean, we have our post-apocalyptic buildings. And these are not hangars, by the way. These are actually businesses off on the side of the road. And there's actually a gate at Whiteman that separates them from the rest of the airport. So there's actually a gate here. And then if we kind of, there's the control tower. And there's a bunch of hangars. I mean, this is a really small airport. It really is. Usually full of some of the smaller planes. Doesn't have an incredibly long runway. But it is one of the many airports in Los Angeles County, and it is kind of on the edge of LA County. Oh, gonna have to get rid of the pilot, the co-pilot. So I kinda like getting rid of him so I can see better. Hey there, guy. Sorry, but I like having a full field of vision. So we have a bunch of hangars here. Hangars and buildings. And we have a little road that takes you around the back of Whiteman Airport. I mean, you'd think it's a perimeter road for the airport, but it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do something you shouldn't do. But I forgot to get rid of the co-pilot. So since we're in a helicopter, and it really kind of doesn't matter. I'm just going to pop him out. And then we're going to remember that when we load in, after we load in the airport scenery for the next time, to take care of getting rid of him the first time around. Or just, not having him in the cockpit. Getting rid of him sounds kind of like, doesn't sound terribly nice, does it? Okay. And always, you can always make a hard landing in the H-145. And in case you're wondering how you get rid of the passengers and the pilots and everything, there's actually settings on the tablet. And you can click on aircraft, and you can click on crew and payload, and I can say I don't want him in here anymore. And he's gone. And actually, the latest version of the H-145 gives us passengers. And we have 2 passengers sitting here in the back. It almost looks like we have Walter White. Kind of, but not really. And this guy, just kind of chilling in the back here. So in the executive version, oh, and we've got another passenger. We've got her, whoever she is. Okay, so and of course, if you want to get rid of the passengers, you can just click on. So I just basically clicked on the passengers and they're gone. So that's what I was showing you a second ago, but I had my mic off, so okay. So as we were going up slower and slower above Whiteman, there in the external view of the Derpicopter, and so I'm guessing the add-on enhancement's not going to increase the surrounding area because that would be a lot of work. And yeah, there's apartment buildings and stuff and houses and all kinds of really cool stuff around Whiteman. People live around it. And there's junkyards, and you say, well, gee, Pony, how do you know? Well, I mean, well, I know. Haven't been to it in a really long time, but I've been by it probably 1,000,000 times. More times than I can count. There's even a Best Buy around it or something. I don't know. So, but again, you know, fun little kind of like regional airport. And you know, lots of people put their Cessnas and their Beechcrafts here. So as we're looking, we're kind of getting this as a general overview, and I could use one of the third-party ground trucks that I bought, so you can skip around the airport in it. But I kind of wanted to do it this way. I think the helicopters are more fun. So let's just kind of, again, do like an auto rotate. And without crashing into the surrounding houses, because I am flying kind of erratically. Just trying to get you a better view without jetting off in the wrong direction. So we're just over the roof. And I'm going to say it's easier to fly helicopters in VR than it is to fly in front of your monitor. So, and if you're wondering why doesn't Pony record helicopters in VR, well, Pony's working on resolution issues with the helicopters in VR. So it says that he put a bunch of T-lines in. And enhanced a bunch of other stuff. So let's go ahead, and I think we've kind of got a halfway decent idea of what it looks like stock from Asobo And let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we add in the add-on. And I know I'm landing the helicopter wrong. It's an airport, you're supposed to go down the runway, but we're good. Okay, so Whiteman, we're here, right? We've got our melted buildings on the outside, and you know, let's just kind of zoom out. It's going to give us that little bit of distorted view. And there's no gate separating the airport from the roads or from the surrounding neighborhoods. You know, probably kind of a little forgotten airport here in the sim, because I mean, you know, some of the bigger airports around here are Burbank and Van Nuys and LAX and Santa Monica, and I guess Long Beach. You know, Whiteman might get overlooked, and some of these little airports, they kind of get overlooked. Some of them aren't even in the sim. So anyhow, here we are, Whiteman. This is the stock, and I'm going to go ahead and load the third-party enhancement into the sim, and then I'm just going to start right in again from Whiteman. So let's go see how that looks. Well, welcome back, everyone. And so we're back at Whiteman Airport, and I kind of want to get rid of the autopilot again. Oh, well, looks like he's gone. Yep, okay. Well, and just, you know, passengers in the back for right now. And then hide the tablet. Okay. So, the author said that he added in a custom control tower and some helicopter markings, and that he fenced in most of the airport. He added in a fuel farm, and he added in some helipad markings. So, I mean, to name just a few things. Added some arrows in run-up areas, stuff like that. So, let's go see if we can find all the differences as we slowly get going here on the Derpcopter. The H-145 Derpcopter. Again, just a really easy helicopter to fly. So I'm already seeing the perimeter fence, which is nice, and I'm seeing the helicopter markings, the pads off on the right. Let's slow down. We don't need to be going so fast. And I can tell that the tower has been fixed. Now, it's an enhancement, so sometimes with the enhancements, if, you know, some people have said, and I'll agree with them, that you should delete the airport that was there and then, you know, do the enhancement. Now, this one says that it's pretty much a complete redo of the airport. So you can, and I'll get into that as we fly. Hopefully I'll remember. Oh, look. Okay. He said there was a windsock. Guessing that's the windsock. And he said he also added in custom winds. Oh, I didn't see Whiteman, the Whiteman markings there. And there's some of the parking tees. We'll have to try and go back around to go get them. And the H-145 is also a really zippy helicopter. It's got lots of power, and it seems to command your respect when flying it, especially when you don't fly helicopters that often. But also another reason why I chose it. So, I'm already seeing a bunch of enhancements and improvements. I'm seeing what I think is weathering on the aprons. You know, he said he added some arrows in the run-up areas. I'm kind of seeing that. I am seeing a perimeter fence. Around most of it, like he had said, not around all of it. Around most of it. I skipped a little bit. Maybe. Just a little bit. Say, well, why a perimeter fence, Pony? Well, you don't want uninvited guests in your airport just wandering around. Might fly right into the blades of an airplane. You know, children on their bikes, riding in the local neighborhood. So, yeah, we're missing a little bit of perimeter fence, but on the backside, so all in all, it's not a bad enhancement. I mean, it definitely improves the airport from its original state. There's not much that can be said about how the AI made the neighborhood with Bing graphics, but then people would say, well, then why don't you get the Google graphics going? Well, I had Google graphics, and it was really good for a while. And, you know, I decided not to use it anymore. So I'm looking, and I really am just trying to slow it down because it's 60 knots. We're going to fly right by. And you could say, well, you could hover, and I could say, I can try. Very difficult to hover in a helicopter. And when you hover, you also want to be above the ground and clear of things like a giant hill. You know, so you don't cram into it. You know, drift to the left or to the right into it when you're trying to look at the ground. Yeah. And if you're too high up, I mean, I'd be way too low, right? Oh, look, and there's the custom fuel he was talking about. So, you know, I mean, it does. It definitely nicens the airport up a little bit. You know, and again, this is a freeware add-on, and it's not that I don't like payware add-ons. I do. I own a few. Not many, but I own a few. And it just kind of enhances your whole simming experience when you come in and the airport's got so much detail. And I would imagine, especially if you're a pilot, and you're just like, well, that's not what the airport looks like. And I mean, of course, that's not what it looks like. But, you know, some people might be like, I'm just really disappointed with the airport. So there we have it. And I think we'll come back to Whiteman. I just want to take a quick trip in the H-145. Well, I have it, because I want to go land on something that I found out recently is a helipad that's never used, which is interesting. And it's close by enough, if we're on the H-145, to get there. So if you want, you can go ahead and fast forward to the landing. But there we go. There's Whiteman. And there's Whiteman with the enhancements. And again, I'm going to agree. He did a good job. You know, and there's much more in the description. And I'll put a link to his freeware add-on. So that if you have a PC and you want to download it and you want to take off and fly out of Whiteman, you can. And you can use his add-on, and you know, the frame rate looks pretty good without having to delete Whiteman itself and just add his add-on in. So, but a lot of people recommend that you do that. So I'm going to go fly off to a little known helipad. And I hear it never gets used. So if you want to go ahead and fast forward it, you know, and you're like, oh, there's the landing, you're more than welcome to. So we're just going to fly across the valley here. And I'm going to have a couple sips of my coffee. And I think we're going to end it at the helipad. So let's just kind of enjoy the scenery as it goes by. So you might notice, and I turned off the mic for a little bit while I slurp my coffee, so I've actually done some minor tuning to the sim for better frame rates. And one of the things that I did was I turned off, or I turned down the...
Derp Y Romeo Echo Hotel 100, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
Whiteman Tower, Derp Y Romeo Echo Hotel 100 frequency change.
So one of the things that I did was I turned the terrain level of detail down. Oh, we're getting a little bit of a hop. I turned the terrain level of detail down, so when you're actually flying over the areas, and I'm going to have to fix that, I've noticed. Not everything loads right in. And here's Van Nuys, where I land most of the time when I'm taking off and landing out here in GA planes. So Whiteman's really close to Van Nuys. There are two regional airports, but I think Van Nuys has a much longer runway, and it has two runways. Don't push it. Right, don't push it. And this is the upgraded version of the H-145. I'm just hearing noises in the background through my headphones, thinking, oof, what was that? So there's Van Nuys off to our right. And so we just came from Whiteman, and you're seeing Van Nuys and Whiteman are really close to each other. And then Burbank is pretty much right over there. Can't really see it too well, and I don't know if that's also because I turned down the level of detail. Yeah, it's kind of off there in the background. So, and that's kind of one of the downsides of when you start making adjustments for frame rate performance. And Los Angeles is over that hill. Los Angeles City is over that hill, but I reassure you that we are in Los Angeles. We're in Los Angeles County. See, there's Burbank off to the left. You just saw the tower. Well, I just saw the tower, and the runway just spawned in. And the Hollywood sign's also off to our left on the other side of the hill. And I think one day I'll give you guys a aerial tour of Los Angeles and its landmarks. But so right now we're over the hill of Los Angeles. We're technically in the San Fernando Valley, in Los Angeles County. And here's a funny little thing about Los Angeles County, or the San Fernando Valley, and kind of an Angelino thing is people who live in the city. It's kind of nasty, but you know it's kind of a thing. And some people, you know, it's in a playful way, and some people it's not. You know, that just nothing important is over the hill. You know, nothing important is north of Los Angeles. You know, everything that's important happens down in the city. You know, you live where again? You live in San Bernardino. You live in Simi Valley. Yeah. You live in Pacoima. Well, I live in, I don't know, Santa Monica. And it's like, well, Santa Monica's its own city. Anyhow, but there is kind of this little rivalry out here where, you know, nothing important happens over the hill. So, just thought I'd share that with you guys. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to land at, again, at a helipad that recently I found out is never used, but it exists. And so we're going to use it today because it's there. And I also do kind of actually want to make a statement as we're flying down, and this is the 405 freeway. This is a horrible freeway, by the way, for, you know, when you have to drive down it on a work day. Oh, it's just gotten worse. That's not what I wanted to say, but it's, you're coming up to this overpass here, and it's got this painted mural of the freeway. And so I'm gonna say the sim has come leaps and bounds from what it was long time ago. We're talking like 20 years ago. But even with the photogrammetry, see, you get that, and you get the Harry Potter cars that drive into the mural. You know, it's the photogrammetry. So, and again, if you're flying in an actual airplane high above, you know, like 1,000 feet up, you're not going to notice it. But if you're flying in a helicopter and you're flying low, you know, like you're a news helicopter, you know, or a derpacopter, you kind of tend to notice all the little nuances. And even if, you know, you're not from around a certain area, you can just be like, gee, the buildings look weird. Yeah, well, again, it's still much better than it ever was years ago, but at the same time, a little off. So remember, everybody, it's a sim, it's not real life. And again, as I always like to state, my videos are not to be used for training purposes for actual flight of a pilot's license. So this is just for flight simming. Okie dokie, so we're coming up here on the city, but there's actual downtown off to the left, and right over there is like the Brentwood area. So you say, well, yeah, so off in the distance is downtown, and there's a lot more buildings, but it doesn't render this far out. And then there's UCLA, which is a very well-known college. I'm sure some people have gone there, and that's off to our left, even closer than we are. And so, helicopters and the sim. So there are helipads, and there are third-party, like helicopter bases that some people have made. And some of them are real, and I'm sure some of them are fictional. But with a helicopter, you don't need an airport to take off and land. You just need a clear area or a helipad to land. And so throughout the hills, there are all kinds of helipads. Even if it's just a little square on a fire road with an H on it for emergency helicopters, it's there. So much like something that we're seeing in front of us, that's the Getty, by the way. And off to our left, so to our right and off our nose is the Getty. And to our left is, well, that was actually in Lethal Weapon. The first movie, that little round building off on the left, that's now disappearing. That was in the opening of the original Lethal Weapon. So if you guys are like, hey, go watch Lethal Weapon. It's a really great movie. But the opening scene is shot off on that building. And this is the Getty Museum. And it's actually a point of interest in the sim. So we're going to get back to the Getty in a second. But so, just because I'm here. So it's like a hotel or an apartment building. I think it's a hotel. I'm pretty sure it's a hotel. Yeah, so Lethal Weapon was shot here. Well, is that the helipad on top of it? No. I'm just... It's part of our visuals in our flight, so... And again, it's going to be really hard to fly like this in a 172 or a 152. It's going to be impossible. But in a helicopter you can. And I'm not sure what helicopters you Xbox guys may have at this point. But in the PC, there's freeware helicopters, and then again there's the H-145, which is a payware helicopter, but it's a helicopter all the same. And so you can do all this nifty stuff, like we can check out this landmark, the Getty, this museum. And here's my point. So this is the Getty Center. It's a art museum in Los Angeles, and it's perched on top of a hill off the 405, and it is a point of interest in the sim. That's why it doesn't look like it survived the apocalypse. So, and it's pretty close to what it is. It's actually done pretty well. So I've been here a few times. And if you ever come to LA, you might want to visit it on one of your vacation spots if you like museums and art. But my point is, I just found out recently that there's a helipad at the Getty, and it never gets used. Ever. Ever, never, ever gets used. In the 25 years that this building has been around, or this museum has been around, that they have a helipad, and it doesn't even get used by them. And it's never been used by emergency services. And there were actually a couple of fires. We get fires in California. And one that even burned, the side of the hill, and you actually can't see it in the sim. So there's the helipad right there. And, oh, it looks different. A little bit. Well, but it's close enough. So there is a helipad, and yes, it is made out of grass. And I don't want to land on it that way. So there is a helipad, and it never gets used. So in 25 years, it's never been used. And that is kind of hard to believe. And I'm going to try and do this very carefully. And probably even land on it in a very non-piloty way. Well, you know what? I'm going to see if I can't do this a little better than the pony let's rush it kind of way. Well, maybe we can. Okay, so we don't want to hit the trees. And again, I'm going to say in VR, flying a helicopter is much easier for spatial relations. And no, those are not rocks, those are trees. But let's go ahead and let's give it a shot. And try and land here on the helipad. Because, after all, this is part of the fun of flying these helicopters. Right? Now, if you hit the wall, because, like I said, we have the realism turned on, it will, you know, do the whole you died thing. And it's just us and you in the helicopter today, so no, I don't want to kill you or myself. And we're just going to do the H-145 down. Yeah, I know, that's not the best landing. And the H-145 lets you land like that. So it is a great helicopter to learn how to fly helicopters on. And, okay, so we flew for 15 minutes than before, so about a half an hour today, right? Yeah, 40 minutes. But so here we are. Yeah, see, it's a pretty large helipad, and not really in the center. But that's part of the fun of flying these helicopters, is that you can go ahead and land on these helipads anywhere you want, because that's what a helicopter is all about, isn't it? It's all about little labels that pop up, so us non-professional pilots can know what all the labels are. Landing light was on the whole time, you don't say. I thought I turned them. No, I didn't turn that one off. We don't want it on idle. We want it on shutdown. So off. And vent them. Having a couple little issues here today. Nothing major. Just go through and...
Fire. Engine 2, fire.
There's no fire. It's a test. I know. Battery master on. And I'm just shutting her down, that's all. From what I remember. That'll kill the juice to everything, right? No. Battery master off. Hydraulic test off. I'm just going through all my switches. Air conditioning off. What'd you turn the wipers on? I guess I turned the wipers on. Show wipers off. Right. And, I mean, we also have what I like to refer to as cheat mode. Which I might actually use today. Air conditioning on, windshield wipers off. Just going through all these switches. Off. 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 Usually that works to kill it. Today, though, the generator should be in off. We're off. And normally we'll get a dead screen here saying, you know, you shut the airplane down. But what I can do actually, if I just want to kill it, and I'm just going to do that today. Cheat mode. cheat mode is options. You go in here and it'll tell you setup, realistic arcade, ready for takeoff, cold and dark. And that's gonna throw all my switches for me and kill the helicopter. And then I can go to, I think, state load, equipment, and somewhere in here. But again, that's pretty much it for what we have. Oh, it's up there in doors. And I can just open the middle one. Right, you're probably not going to be able to see that one, so. Right, and we can leave the pilot door closed. And that's pretty much it. So, and that's what I'm saying. You got your H-145 helicopter here, and we're on our helipad. And that was Whiteman Airport, and this is the helipad at the Getty that never gets used. So I just wanted to say, everybody, again, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And just recently, we've gone above 200 subscribers. So if you like my videos, you like what you see, please subscribe, like, and share my videos. And I appreciate all you guys. So again, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.